turns out the last Talking Tuesday was, in fact, a hypothetical Talking Tuesday. And I can't guarantee that this one is going to be a real Talking Tuesday previewing a Ryan Day press conference either. Although, I hope so.
We're going to pretend, and we're going to remain cautiously optimistic for every Tuesday from here on out that we will get to hear from Ryan Day.
It's so close. It's got to happen at some point, and I'm certain that it will, and that this Talking Tuesday, and all of them, presented by the Waterworks, will have a lot of value. That is television's Adam King. It is a Talking Tuesday, and I don't know how many different things are on your mind today than they were last week, but I bet there's something.
There's always something on my mind. It's a scary place, but I think you mean specifically with Ohio State football.
That would probably be
okay.
Next.
I'm excited to kind of get into the nitty gritty of things, and we've kind of so much talked about what who's going to fill this role and what's this going to look like. Now, maybe it was the guys. Ohio State posted pictures of the guys working out at the Woody.
Welcome to Mat Drills, baby.
Yeah, saw a couple of them at the basketball game on Sunday, and it just kind of reminded me like, hey, this is coming up. We're less than a month away from spring practice starting and really everything going full go. So the one thing, like, I want to look at individual players. Like, we've never really delved into that, but I'm curious. Like, I would have a question.
What do you mean we've never delved into that?
Like, I'm sorry, we talked everything in an over-encompassing view of like the transfer portal and the new roles, but when I look at the linebacker room, like I know we want to hear from Ryan Day, but I'd love to talk to James Laurinaitis, and I'd be very interested to see
College Football Hall of Famer.
That's right, College Football Hall of Famer. Like, some people, I still think you're really looking at two linebackers all year long. I think, in my eyes, it's Riley Pettit. Well, let me ask you, and then see if we're on the same page. I think Riley Pettit. Would you agree with that?
I think that the gap between Riley Pettijohn and TJ Alford that may have existed in September had shrunk by December and may have been even footing, or even potentially TJ Alford pulling ahead. But that's also why it's a great question to ask Matt Patricia or James Laurinaitis. Mm-hmm. And in February, they can't really answer that because you have spring ball, you have the rest of these winter workouts, you have training camp. So I'm not trying to avoid. I don't know that we're entirely on the same page, but we also don't know. I just think removing or dismissing TJ Alford's chances, I think the picture changed as the year went along.
Do you think? I say Allegro, you say how do you say it?
Christian Allegro.
Okay, a Christian Allegro.
That's it.
All right, thank you. I'm going to call him Allegro about 100 more times on this podcast. Christian Allegro, I want to know his role because he's not coming here to sit on the bench.
So you were talking more in terms of Riley Pettijohn versus Christian Allegro.
No, I was just talking about I was talking about Alford in my head, and I still, this is just my thought. I think if it's Ball State, which is, just days away. If that was here
before you know.
Yeah, if that
January,
was gone,
that cruise season was
gone.
Fast.
That was wild. I know you say you don't have to figure it out, but you kind of do. Like, spring ball, this next month is the only time you get to go in with questions, because in spring ball, you've got to line them up pretty much in an order. Unless there's got to be, this is my theory, and this is maybe a whole overarching thought process, because it's what it felt like in 2024. I don't necessarily think they should use this offseason to answer questions. I think they should use this offseason. Like, do you remember in 2024? It did not feel like
you had so many veterans.
Yes.
You could forecast out what the lineup was going to be, and you could install more than you probably could in that situation.
And that's what I hope they do. Now, they didn't have 17 transfers, all of which could play an impact role. But I hope, and maybe this is a question for Ryan Day, it's a question for Matt Patricia, how much are they walking into this with a predetermined concept of where these guys are? Obviously, you're not going to be spot on with everything, but when you bring in Allegro from Wisconsin, he's not coming Earl Little or Terry Moore or Rousseau or James Smith. Like, these guys aren't coming here to sit on the bench. And you also, and no disrespect to Bo Atkinson, you don't want a Bo Atkinson situation where it felt like all year long he was trying to just kind of catch up to the rest of the defensive line.
Yep.
And so when I look at that, I wonder going into spring ball, every coach, whether they admit it or not, every coach has a leader in the clubhouse for every position and in their mind. So what does that look like, especially for me, my first runs right to the linebacker room. Like, I want to know if lie detector James Laurinaitis. Yeah.
Ooh.
It's a first.
I don't know if he needs it.
That's right.
I think he's a truth teller at all times.
That's right.
But we should still hook him up to it.
That'd just be fun. Ask him some separate questions.
It's Talking Tuesday. It has to be a live.
That's right.
Someone's got to be hooked up.
Somebody has to. He's always on truth serum. That's a good point. He will give us the answer. But where does he see this all laying out in the linebacker room? Because I think if you spend the whole time trying to figure out the order, it's wasted time knowing that you've got the talent there. Am I crazy for saying that?
You said at least 3 things that have really sparked something in my brain.
Ooh.
And
that's a scary thing to do.
No, I like it. I'm glad you did. You put it in some terms that I think maybe I hadn't considered before. 2 of them most notably. And the first thing that I thought of was you said spring of 2024. That was not about competition. So that could be about maybe not game planning, but different schematic things and installation more so than direct head-to-head competition, because you knew really on both sides of the football what that group was going to look like. That's not going to be the case on defense, really, when you have this many new starters. You're figuring out how little Allegro, the pieces that you mentioned, the defensive linemen, how they're all going to work together. And there will be the other part is the second thing you said. You have a leader in the clubhouse. Of course, you brought in those people that I just mentioned because you think they can contribute right away. So if that's the case, is there still a competition, or do you just go out and even if they're new faces, you put the scheme in place, you install, and you do that with, all attention on week 2 and the trip to Texas? I don't know. That part is really interesting to me because conversely, offensively, you do know what every single spot is going to be, but you have a new offensive coordinator and Arthur Smith's going to be tweaking some things. Maybe it's not an overhaul, but the run game's probably going to look a little bit different. Can you get into the advanced installation and execution in spring because you have a second year with Julian Sayin, because you have Jeremiah Smith, Brandon Ennis, you have 4 starting offensive linemen back? You'd think so. Maybe that's to Arthur Smith's advantage. I don't know, but I'm just thinking about the things that you said, and those are great questions because now that's all I can think about.
Well, you just brought it, so you just sparked something in my mind.
Let's go.
I would be interested to ask Ryan Day, and maybe this is stupid, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe when I say it, I'll realize it's very dumb.
Don't say those things, my friend.
I apologize. It won't happen again. I wonder, is this the dream scenario for Ryan Day coming off of last season? Because the offense, everybody's so upset that the defense has to reset a lot because they were so good last year. But the defense doesn't have a lot of questions. I understand, the faces may look different, but I do think that the scheme worked incredibly well. Everyone will tell you that. And a lot of these guys were here. Many of them got on the field. They just weren't full-time starters. Yep. I think of a guy like Edric Houston. He was here. He's going to be a massive role player in this team.
And has started games.
Yeah, and has started games. Kenyatta's back. When you look at the linebacker room, Riley Pettijohn should have gotten more playing time last year. The opportunities didn't present as much as they'd hoped. Right. But, TJ Alford, as you said, he's closed the gap. I feel good. And then on the offensive side of the ball, if you could say, Ryan, little hypothetical game that you can only play in February. You can either have to rework this offense with a lot of new faces, but you get all your defensive pieces back. Or you get the defense where it is, but the offense that you were really frustrated with, you get all those pieces. Sorry, there was a headphone making a weird noise. You get all those pieces back to try to fix.
Yeah.
I think he would take this 10 times out of 10 because you bring in Arthur Smith and it allows this off. Nothing about this offseason Jeremiah Smith could sit out until Ball State, and he'll be just fine. He's not going to. We've already seen pictures of him working very hard in winter workouts.
Something tells me he wants to be an Iron Buckeye.
That's right. And Julian Sayin, this is the first time since C.J. Stroud's second year that they've had a returning quarterback under Ryan Day.
Yeah.
This is he's only had this twice with Justin Fields and C.J. Stroud. We've only seen the year 2 of a quarterback twice, and in his 8 years now.
Yeah, and he was robbed of a lot of that with
Fields,
with Justin Fields.
Yeah. So the running back room is figured out. Obviously, you hate that the surgeries. But you know what it looks like. It gives Jacoby Jackson a chance to come in and really make an impact and maybe push towards more playing time than I would have thought that he would have gotten certainly earlier. Yeah. The offensive line, there's so much that is just like, okay, guys, it's the Cotton Bowl was all, we do not like what happened there, but all you guys were there. Like, all you guys played in that game. So let's just tear the scheme down. Let's just break down what happened there and how we can fix it. And then on defense, you're like, hey, guys, this worked amazing last year. You guys saw it from the wings, a lot of you. Now let's go out and you replicate what those guys did.
Well, and when you talk about giving the option, the hypothetical option, it would help, I think, Ryan Day's choice to know that Matt Patricia, which we think at this point it's still trending.
I'm fairly confident.
It's trending in the right direction for Ohio State.
He was wearing a Buckeye hat on a TV show.
Saw him on Good Morning Football. Looked like head to toe, Blanco, and I think in the defensive meeting room as well. So those are good signs. That's a good place for him to be.
Yeah.
But let's just operate under the assumption that Clint Kubiak is not going to hire him to the Raiders staff, that the rest of these defensive spots are filled. Ohio State and Matt Patricia formalize this contract extension, and then you continue moving into February. If Ryan Day is answering your hypothetical, well, I've already seen Matt Patricia come in here and take over a group that's missing 8 or 9 starters and key components.
That's a good point.
Somehow make them even better than
that's
they
a good
were
point.
Before. So that's like, which one would you want? Yeah, give me what just happened. I'll do that again. And now do that with an offense that has a returning experienced quarterback who I really think, Adam, that I've been getting this question a lot, and I think it's a fair one. Like, what does Julian have to do with his offseason? How's he going to get better? What does the strength staff have to do? You know, what does Billy Fessler have to do? What does Ryan Day have to do? What will Arthur Smith be asking him to do? Like, you know, because the last 2 games didn't go perfectly for him. And I'm like, just give him time. Like, the experience, whether it's the offensive line, whether that's Jeremiah Smith dealing with double coverage, the ups and downs of the pressure that Julian faced, like, all of those guys are going to learn. You have no choice. You have to learn from it. You have to get better, but you do. You learn through failure and setbacks, and you come back better. I don't think they have to change anything with Julian Sayin. I don't think they have to change anything with the offense as a whole. And that's not to say that what happened against Indiana and Miami is okay with anybody, but when you bring that level of veteran experience back, especially a quarterback, that's when you have the chance to do something pretty special. And, you know, the situation with Will Howard was unique because he had so much built-in knowledge in college experience, and that was the last piece here. They built this thing around and for Julian Sayin, and I think it's going to look pretty good. But that's tying all of this together. Which, if you're answering that hypothetical, it's like, definitely give me this scenario. I think it is the ideal one for Ryan Day.
If you could ask Ryan Day, lie detector, kind of bouncing around here, but if you could ask him.
Well, Talking Tuesday is about bouncing.
That's right. What is... I got to... Sorry. The headphones were very loud. They...
Hopefully nobody knows what was rattling.
Yeah, it's crazy. If you could ask Ryan Day, give me one thing that Julian Sayin improves on in 2026, and you think that one thing is enough to win you a national title, what is it? Because I think that I could argue, and it feels so surface level, and so I hate saying it, but it is his, not mobility, but his
athleticism,
his playmaking in a bit. I mean, go back to the Super Bowl. Patriots didn't have very many good plays,
it did not.
but Drake May's ability to run up the gut there and get 20 yards. Gave them the only slimmer of hope that they had that whole game.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold scrambled around a couple times. Now, Julian scrambled last year. He made a great play against Michigan. So let's not act like this isn't a guy that can use his legs, but just being able to move in the pocket a little more, to help out your offensive line in moments, because teams can't blitz the same way if you're a playmaker. They just can't, because it leaves gaps open over the middle of the field. It very, very dangerous. And so that is my take. But I wonder if Ryan would say something different. I wonder if there is one thing that he's sitting there right now, like, Julian, between now and April, this is all I want you to focus on.
Yeah, I think if you had to force Ryan Day to narrow it down to one, that would probably require the truth serum. Because otherwise I would expect him to answer it as, well, he can get better in every facet of the game. And I actually, that tends to be where I agree. I don't think that it's coach speak, because even with what you're talking about, that doesn't solely rely on how great your offseason workouts were, or mat drills, or how much weight you added, or if you shaved any time off of your 40. It's part of it. It's part of the equation. And I think adding 10 to 15 pounds is probably going to make him more confident, both in the pocket or using his legs to go run. But it is also about the same thing that we talked about with Fernando Mendoza and Carson Beck, who you don't view as true out-and-out dual-threat quarterbacks. The processing, the body of work to understand a defense and understand where the escape hatch might be, and then to go use it. Like, all these things are interconnected. So that's the one part because when we hear it, and I'm confident that we will, when that question is asked, where does Julian need to get better? And the answer will be everywhere, which is not a knock. That's just
it's true. I mean,
just the truth. That's the maturation process.
Where can he get better? Everywhere.
Yeah,
because everybody can.
And this is one of those times.
Where can we get better on Talking Tuesdays? Everywhere. We can everywhere.
You know where?
Stop unplugging headphones in the middle of the show.
We could do that. And if you need to make improvements at home, you can do that with the Waterworks and Hetter Energy Savings Plan. Get priority heating service, members only savings, and continuous, I almost said.
Wow.
Continuous comfort all year long. Call today to schedule. The Waterworks and Hetter, 614-232-2222. So anyway,
we didn't plan that, by the way. That flowed really well. Well done.
I almost executed.
You know what else flows?
The Waterworks.
I thought you were just going to read it again.
Do it again and save that for next week. That's an element of coach speak where I know we're going to hear it, and I'll be like, that actually makes a lot of sense, because I just don't think you can separate it out and say, well, the only thing that would have made any difference is if Julian Sayin had been able to convert a quarterback sneak and just, 15 more pounds or 25 more pounds on his squat, and he would have moved the pile and they would have got that first down against Indiana. Yeah, sure. But if we're talking big picture growth, that really can and should happen in every area. And I think it will.
Can we keep bopping?
Let's bop it. Bop it one more time.
You just you talk about growth. What is, maybe this is a Lachlan question, maybe this is a Day question, but running backs I've always thought are incredibly interesting during spring practice and fall camp. Because
what if they don't get a spring camp?
No, well, that's, spring practice, if you go watch the running back, they do drills, ball security drills all the time. They're working out constantly. They're getting, winter workouts are big for running backs. But how detrimental is this surgery to both? How bad is that for a running back room? Is there a world where these guys come back in June and they start to rehab and by August maybe they lift a little more, but then obviously you don't want to put too much on their bodies with the season right there. How much are they learning? How much in spring ball? Because you can't tackle. You can't. Then you look at the offensive line. How much is that a mesh point with the offensive line of getting comfortable with the guy that's in the backfield? And you're not going to do that until June or July. And so I'm interested at how worrisome that is for both Carlos Lachlan and Ryan Day.
Well, I think the other part of that is to ask those two, because Ryan Day talked about it on the coaches show 2 weeks ago, that Bo Jackson and Isaiah West would be limited throughout spring. How much does that also apply to Turbo Rogers coming off injury? Jacoby Jackson had his last season at Florida shortened by injury. Is he 100% going into spring? He had to file an appeal for a medical redshirt hardship. He got that. That's how he was able to transfer to Ohio State in the first place. Beaver Aki also was dealing with an injury at the end of his high school senior career. So it's not even just the top two. Like, you can go beyond that, Adam, where it's like, who's actually fully healthy enough to go through March and April? How important is that, not just for the running backs and the position coach, but also Arthur Smith, what he's trying to do with a new look ground game? Like, I'm not sure how much of that we will actually see in March and April, but we will only see at most like 5 practices anyways. Not just for me, but like the coaching staff.
Yeah.
How much can they really do for a ground game that needs to become more reliably consistent and explosive than it was a year ago to win a national championship? Like, I think that's, if you asked me what the single biggest question is about this offense in the future and this team being a contender, none of it has anything to do really to me with Julian Sayin. It's about if the rushing attack is able to duplicate what that offensive line and Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins and Will Howard, I guess it does in some respects involve if Julian Sayin can contribute to it, but is that running game going to take the next step and get back to where Ohio State expects it to be? And that's not because I have any skepticism about it, but that's going to determine everything, especially at the tempo that I expect Ohio State's going to continue to play at. And by the way, we can ask Ryan Day that. Do you think do you want more plays? Do you look back at the way the year ended? And the last time that I had a chance to ask him about that, and tempo was right after the Cotton Bowl, he was really in no position to answer that.
Yeah, that's, you know what? It's a question you can ask as we get closer to the season. I mean, I think a lot of it's going to have to do with Arthur Smith, but that's going to be a big question because I understood the premise and it worked really, really well in 2024. But the offense last year at times very much reminded me of the pace of the offense, the Kyle McCord and Marvin Harrison Jr. year. And I don't always think that sets. This is a whole other sidebar. I mean, we can discuss this forever, but if you're the more talented team, you want more chances on the field. That's it. And I understand that was always the plan in the bigger games. Yeah. But obviously it didn't work out the way they wanted. It's a learning lesson. So yeah, good. I mean, that's a big overarching question.
Oh, those are just bebopping around.
Bebopping, jumping around. We got a million other positions to talk about.
We do.
And
we're going to get to them.
That's why we have, it's only February 10th. So, yeah, it's right February 10th.
It's early.
Early.
On February 10th. In here in the red light district. Do you like the new lights, America?
We also want to know about the trinkets. What do you think of the trinkets? We took the football out. Austin took the football out. Could put the football back in.
I kind of wanted to change it every week.
Okay, we need more trinkets. You got to start bringing some from your house.
Okay, I do have trinkets. I've got a couple pillows.
You do have more. Yeah, I thought about it. I have a pillow, but I don't know that it would make a lot of sense to just put a pillow right there.
I don't know.
Austin,
you've never seen as many pillows.
Hypothetically speaking,
yeah.
If I was to set a line at over under 7.5 bull pillows that you have at your place, would I hit the over?
We're pretty close. Last year I took it up a notch.
You did. I assumed you got a new couch with how many pillows you were taking.
I did. We had just finished the basement and bought a new couch, so I needed.
You got to get pillows.
These very luxurious Cotton Bowl and college football playoff pillows. Like they really bring the room together.
100%. I can't argue with that.
An interior designer by amateurism.
That's
not by trade.
And the design is Cotton Bowl.
It is. Which right now I don't really like looking at as much as I did a year ago, but that's neither here nor there. Hopefully we will have a press conference of some sort that will turn this preview into a reality, that we get to ask some of those questions of Ryan Day. We don't know for sure. It's entirely up in the air. But we do need to also talk to the transfer portal additions, the early enrollees. There's a lot to do because, as Adam said, we're a month away from the start of spring practice. We got to get back in there.
Got to go. It is time.
It is time. And it has been a Talking Tuesday with television's Adam King. One of the best days if not the best of the week.
Don't let everybody else hear that.
It's
We
just-
appreciate every day
That's
of the Austin and Berm Show.
That's just between you, me, and America, and everyone who made it to the end of this episode of the Bazit. The
Bzee. I'm talking to America here.
presented by Waterworks. I need to stop combining words at the end of the show. Thanks for joining us. He's Adam. I'm Austin. See ya.